Hello YouTube, in today's video we're testing out a lens mod that I bought for the GoPro that is supposed to improve my workflow, but I have a small challenge. I do want to compare two GoPros next to each other and I can only put one on this mount. And I don't have a double mount. How to fix that? Let's see upstairs. I'll be needing these. Plug this out. Shoot. We have this that fits on a bike, and this hopefully fits on this. Then we have these clip-ons. I want to get a GoPro on the same level and in the same line so that I can compare two GoPros, one with the modification that I will have and one without. I've got to make sure that they're in the same direction. Just looking good like this. Tweak that a little bit. Okay, second GoPro. Okay, let's see how solid we can make this. Check it out. Should be able to hang that upside down pretty easily next to each other. Check it out. How cool is this? Two GoPros next to each other. And I'll explain you the modification in a minute when we are out and about because we're heading to the trails. So for this experiment I am using two different GoPros. I have a GoPro Hero 8 and a GoPro Hero 9. So there might be a slight difference already. I have them both in super view, which is the most extended view, and in all the same settings, so it should be a good comparison. So let's head to the trails and test it out. We made it to the forest, doggies are being walked, and we are gonna ride the one wheel. That's my personal dog. Same therapy. So I am starting off with both cameras, same settings, without the modification. So let's film the one wheel a little bit and see what it gives on the first sight. So what modification will I actually be using today? It's the GoPro Max Lens mod, which is supposed to give you a 155-degree angle view, which is a bit more than the super view that you normally have on your GoPro. The Max Lens mod should work from the GoPro Hero 9 onwards, so I'm lucky that I have the 9 and that I can test it on this one, but the older ones don't seem to have the software for that. You definitely need to have the 9 or higher. So the GoPro Max Lens mod comes in a very handy silicone case that you can easily use to attach and detach it from your GoPro without getting the fingers on the lens. I will demonstrate that in a minute if I find a little bench where I can do this safely, because one of the disadvantages there, if you have to switch to the Max Lens mod, that you actually are prone to dust. So we don't want to get dust into the GoPro, so let's do it in a spot where we are quite safe. Have the lens mod right here, and this is actually the small silicone case, and as you see in the pockets it easily gathers dust, so you want to avoid getting the dust into this lens. So this silicone case is going to help us to put it on there without having to touch the lens itself. We're just simply going to detach the lid and then put that one on there. Switch off the GoPros, because you don't want to do this with a live GoPro. Then here we have the lens. First we have to get this one detached. Okay, you have to turn to the right side. I'm gonna keep it up there for a little bit. Oops, no, I'm not. Now as quick as possible we're gonna open the lid, and as you can see the backside is exposed, and you can check where the inserts go, and we have to catch it and turn it to the left now. So put it on there. Boom. We have the Max Lens mod on there right now, and you can already see the difference. This has a bit more rounded lens, this still has the flat lens. This should give us a little bit more range in the image, but first we need to change some settings to make it work. Put this lens in the case just to be sure. Okay, now let's put the GoPro back on. And as you now can see, we have a very distorted view because of the lens mod. You can now see the corners are black, and we have to fix that in the menu. So we open up the menu and we go to, on the lower right corner, you see the icon here for the lens mod. You click that, max lens mod enabled, and now as you can see, all the distortion is gone and we have a clear image just like on the other one. It's a bit more bulky with the lens mod right on there. I'm very curious what the perspective is going to be with this lens mod, so let's test it out before it gets dark or rains. Okay, so we now have the max lens mod installed next to the GoPro 8, who does not have this mod. It's only in super view, and now I'm really curious how this will hold up against each other. I'm gonna flip the camera in a minute and you're gonna see that normally we should get a wider perspective on the max lens mod camera, and let's see how far that goes, because I'm really curious how much the extension is on this modification. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, apparently I didn't have the max super view enabled back there, so now we should have more range and it should be visible on the camera. So let's test it out and see if we can show you what it's all about. Ooh, and I've got to watch out here, lots of potholes. Bushes on the camera as well. Let's see how it holds up. My tire is pretty flat. I'm not getting any airtime on the bunkers, and I did take some of the ferns right along with me. And I hope it really shows the difference, because I will only see it in the edit. It's the first time that I use this lens mod, so I'm pretty curious how it will stack up against each other. So I have a few small obstacles right here in the forest that I want to try. I'm gonna put the camera on the ground right next to each other and see if we get more real estate on the fixed shots as well, because that's also where it gets interesting. If we have more range, we can actually get closer to the action, and the closer you can get, the bigger it looks. This is a really cool one. You have this route to bunk on and you have to clear this section to make a cool landing right over there. So let's set up the camera. I really should have put some more air into that tire. I now notice that I'm still on the trail PSI, which is supposed to catch those roots and not bonk them, and you can really feel it. I don't get much air time, but when you have speed enough you can still clear it in the distance. And let's test this thing a little bit more throughout the trails to see how this stacks up, because I'm pretty curious with doing some dynamic shots how it will look. there's a really cool function that comes with the GoPro Max Lens mod that I really needed for my workflow, because I flip my camera around a lot and it always takes me a lot of work to change it in the edit or to stop recording and start recording again after flipping the camera. Because once you start filming in the record mode, you are stuck with that horizon, and that's something that I really wanted to tackle because of flipping that thing around. I want to keep that in one workflow, and this camera does that. So now we have it on horizon lock. So if we flip the camera, even with the super view, it locks the horizon to what your wishes are, which is cool because on the normal GoPro you only have that in the narrow view, which definitely limits the filming with horizon lock. And with toggling this function off, you will notice that you can flip the camera around everywhere you want. It will stay leveled as you were filming from the start, which is really cool because I always start talking to my camera and then I want to flip it, but I always have to push the record button off, flip it, push record again to be easy in the edit, or I could just edit it afterwards, which is also a bit of a hassle. Now we can just hit that record button and don't worry about those things anymore, which I love. So both cameras are recording and we're gonna gently flip both cameras, and as you can see, one flips the screen, which makes for more work in the edit, and the other keeps it the same. And that's where you can easily toggle that on and off to keep your GoPro leveled at all times. Let's ride a bit more before it gets dark. So the maximum quality that you can get on the Max Lens mod is 2.7K with 60 frames. You're not getting 4K with that Max Lens mod, but it's still better than the 360 cam that GoPro has with reducing the image after editing to less than 2.7K. It's still better to have the Max Lens mod on its maximum quality than to have that 360 cam quality. So for that, I still prefer my regular GoPros over the 360 cam. 360 cam definitely has its use, but I only use it for specific shots where it is justified. Some people like it as a daily, which I totally respect, but for me the workflow is doubled and the quality is still less than what I have from these machines. So I just had to swap batteries on my 8, and on the 9 we still have 53% battery. That should be correct because in the 9 right here I have the white, the bigger and longer lasting batteries, and here I have the smaller blue batteries, and there's a size difference as well. So the white ones actually are double the lifetime of the 8 smaller blue batteries. My slider tree is still here though. They did not remove that one. So let's see if the little growler with the W's is up for a little slide. That will be... I want to do it. I want to get that trick in there. In the forest trails, to get that shot leveled, sometimes you have to look for some accessories to keep it flat, because the forest floor, as you see, is pretty rugged and never flat. So tighten this up a bit so that the tripod stays in there. And we have this shot set up right here for the slider. Let's see if that little growler machine can do it. Oh. There's one knob right here. I'll show it with the other camera. There's one knob right here that I keep hitting, so you really have to lift that bumper a little bit to avoid it. It is doable. I did it with my other machine, but you really have to be fast. It's a short slider. You have to lift that bumper to avoid getting stuck in that. Small tire, but it grips over it. That's always the thing with putting your camera in the line of action. You can get hit, but that's why it's an action cam. Okay, I'm gonna take that one. I'm very happy today, and I'm very curious on editing this video because I want to see the difference between the max lens mod and the regular one. All right, right on. And I'm gonna start with the giveaway package because it has been won. The number of all rights has been counted correctly by Paul. He was the first one in the comments to share the correct count, and it's well deserved. He's been a fan of the channel and of Skrrrt of the very beginning, so well deserved, Paul. And I hope to see those bunk videos really soon because I know that's your challenge, so go get him. And I also want to share some of my findings about the max lens mod because it's definitely something that will improve my workflow because of the flip thingy. When you flip the GoPro with the horizon lock, it just stays locked in the horizon that you started out with, which is really amazing. That's going to save me a lot of time in the edit, and I'm really thankful for that. And I also seem to notice on the max lens mod that there is less warping going on, which is really cool. You can even zoom in a little bit and get rid of the warping all at once, which is definitely gonna up the quality of the footage. And in the static shots, I definitely see some more range with the 155-degree angle of the lens. It's not that noticeable in the dynamic shots when I'm riding, although I did have the cameras next to each other, so it was not ideal to frame the shot, but I don't really notice a big difference in the dynamic shots. But in the static shots, there's definitely a bigger image in the frame. So what are some of the downsides of the lens? Because they are there as well. Well, you can actually only shoot up to 2.7K, which is a pity because some of you really want to go 4K or higher. So with the max lens mod, especially for the 9 and the 10, you can only go to 2.7K. But I did notice there's a max lens mod 2.0 already out there for the 11 and the 12 because they already have the horizon lock thingy and stuff, so they had to upgrade that. And you might get lucky on that one to have a better range on the quality. I don't know it, I haven't checked it, so check it out if you're interested in that. The last thing that I noticed is that it's also prone to damage, and there's no real protection out there for this big ass lens. On a normal lens, I tackle that with an ND filter that you can throw on there. If something happens, it's just a cheaper ND filter that is broken, or you can have interchangeable lenses, which are not that expensive, but this one is definitely more expensive to replace. And with having no protection, you are a bit reluctant on shredding with that thing. But all in all, definitely something that will improve my workflow on my GoPro 9. I hope in the future that I can upgrade somewhere, but if I still have two working GoPros, an 8 and a 9, why upgrade if there's smaller and more affordable upgrades out there? I hope that this piece of information helps you. Let me know what you want to know next on the GoPro or the action camera stuff, and I'll try to make it. And on that note, I'm gonna love you and leave you. Peace out, and I'll see you on the next one. BAM!
That was a direct hit. We got a direct hit in the house. Somebody go in and save him! BAM!